Hello class, this is chapter 7 and 8 in the 8th edition, Drugs, Tobacco, and Alcohol, Examination 5 Video Review. And let's get started. What do psychoactive drugs affect in terms of psychological function, feelings, and mood? And what are the reasons people abuse drugs? What portion of college students meet medical criteria for drug addiction or dependence in terms of percentages? In terms of binge drinking, what statements are true in terms of incidence, frequency, and populations? What type of illicit drug is most likely to be used by someone in the United States? What is the second largest category of illicit drug use in the U.S. for non-medical uses? Which scenario would be considered drug misuse? Taking an aspirin for an ankle sprain, doubling the standard dosage of pain medication on a doctor's recommendation, buying allergy medicine online with a prescription, or taking one of your mother's prescription sleeping pills to fall asleep. If you feel intense pleasure because of dopamine in terms of its delivery, what is this called? What is drug addiction characterized by? If someone is depressed or flat feeling, the drug users may feel this when they're not taking a drug. And what is this related to? Drug use for a long period of time typically leads to what condition in the body? Symptoms of drug withdrawal include what side effects? Psychoactive drugs intoxicate the brain and cause what changes? Is drug use more common in urban areas, or is it higher in the South? What percentage of Americans use drugs? And are males more likely to use drugs than females? We're also going to be talking about chewing tobacco, tobacco products, alcohol, and obviously drugs. So let's transition to tobacco. Chewing tobacco enters the body through which method of administration? What method of administration for drugs is the slowest way for a chemical to reach the brain? And what is the fastest for a drug to reach the brain? Physiological responses to a drug may vary depending on what factors? When a person takes 2 or more drugs at once, the physiological effects are likely to be greater if the drugs exhibit what type of interactions? What are some common examples of prescription drug use? And what are some non-examples of prescription drug misuse? What are the most commonly misused prescription drugs by college students? What is true about over-the-counter medications in terms of whether they're allergy pills or how they interact with herbal supplements, how safe they are to use if you're pregnant? Do they or do they not present any challenges associated with prescription drugs? What's the problem if you combine acetaminophen with alcohol? What are some common facts about marijuana in the United States? What's the main psychoactive drug or chemical in marijuana? What's the physiological effect of marijuana? What are some of the long-term effects of marijuana? And which of the following is not a central nervous system stimulant? Ritalin, caffeine, cocaine, or LSD? The most popular mind-altering drug in the world is what? Nicotine, caffeine, alcohol, or cocaine? What common effect of excessive caffeine consumption is what common effect? Lethargy, serenity, low blood pressure, or restlessness? Symptoms of caffeine withdrawal may include any or multiple headaches, alertness issues, depression, or anxiety. Adderall and Ritalin are prescribed for what reasons? How does methamphetamines differ from amphetamines? Fewer side effects, it is more potent, it is more commonly prescribed by doctors, or it's less potent. Which one of those four is it? Ecstasy's negative effects are similar to those of what type of drug category? Rohypnol can make people vulnerable to sexual assault because it can cause what? Inhalants include what type of drugs? Depressants reduce what in the body? 12-step programs are designed to help alcoholics and drug addicts by blank, question mark. According to national surveys, slightly more than what percentage of the adults in the U.S. drink alcohol? In '84, the Federal Uniform Drinking Age Act has had all the following positive effects of health and safety except what? Katie only drinks on the weekends. She typically consumes 4 to 5 mixed drinks during the first 2 hours that she is out with her friends. This drinking pattern is called what? Binge drinking is common in what age group? Which of the following ethnic groups has the highest percentage of current drinkers? Caucasians, Native Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans. Who's least likely to binge drink? Fraternity and sorority, sports fans, minorities, and athletes. Which effect does parental acceptance of alcohol use during high school have on campus drinking patterns? Does it increase a student's risk? Does it have any effect at all? Does it encourage them to drink more responsibly? Or is there a decrease in terms of the student risk of misusing or abusing alcohol during college? What is the blood alcohol concentration level? And what is it affected by? If you recall Rita's story in the chapter, which of the following best explains the difference between Rita's and her friend's vacation? Her friend's reactions to the alcohol they consumed. Short-term effects of alcohol consumption include what? Effects or symptoms or behavioral issues. Effect of coffee on a hangover is what? Justin consumed too much alcohol at a friend's party and woke up with a hangover. Which of the following is the best way for him to treat his hangover? What's the problem with drinking alcohol during your pregnancy? When a person quits drinking alcohol and experiences symptoms such as nausea, sweating, shakiness, and anxiety, what is this called? You'll get a DWI arrest if you have a BAC, a blood alcohol concentration level of blank or higher. What factors increase a person's risk for alcohol abuse? What type of characteristics of young alcoholics determine if they're unlikely to seek help for alcoholism, or if they have a family history of alcoholism, if being an alcoholic by age 21 is reasonable, or being free of mental disorders. When Colin was 6, his father died from alcohol poisoning. Colin started drinking and using marijuana at 12. And as an adult, Colin has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. What subtype is Colin? Newer medications used to treat alcoholism have what type of advantages? What are some important components of effective alcohol counseling? If someone's seeking help for alcoholism through a program that emphasizes sensible drinking at healthy levels rather than abstinence, this is called what type of program? Enhancement, intervention, or therapy? What does falling off the wagon mean? If someone's trying to get past alcoholism, what does it require? What are some of the reasons young adults start smoking and don't start smoking? What ethnic groups are highest among smokers? If someone smokes, he feels pleasure. This is only due to the release of large amounts of what? Which of the following causes the most deaths in the United States? Is it alcohol, HIV, tobacco, or illegal drug use? The majority of adults who regularly smoke begin smoking when? Smoking is a key risk factor for what type of issues? A person with COPD can have what problems? If someone switches to light cigarettes, what is the difference between a light cigarette and a regular cigarette? If someone's been a smoker for 2 years, and for the past 3 months they've been coughing up mucus and wheezing, what does that indicate in terms of that person's symptoms? Beth's doctor warned her to quit smoking. Again, Beth's physician warned her to quit smoking when she learned she was pregnant because which of the following risks are evident? Secondhand smoke can cause or exacerbate which of the following health conditions? Asthma, respiratory issues, or cancer? Tobacco in one cigar contains as much tobacco as how many cigarettes? 1, 5, 12, or 24? Which of the following groups is least likely to use smokeless tobacco? Nicotine activates the pleasure center of the brain and raises levels of neurotransmitters is called what? Oral cancers are more likely in drinkers than non-drinkers. True or false? And that concludes Examination 5's video review. Good luck, class.